Quackenbush, and I'm here as the moderator. We are here with the Women of Web3, building digital collaborations in new communities in Web3. I'm going to have each woman here who's a powerhouse introduce themselves. I'm Stacey Quackenbush. I'm the CEO of Third Academy, and we are pioneering web education and the disruption of work.
Hi, my name is Shayna. I go by Diamond Doll professionally. I'm the co-founder of NFT CLT. We're an entertainment production company bringing accessible and free Web3, blockchain, and emerging tech education to our communities around the nation and colleges around the nation as well.
Hi everyone. This is working? Okay. My name is Dr. Nishanta Sanchdev. Everyone calls me Nish. I am the managing director at Luna Media Corp. We have 4 main verticals. We have our PR and marketing agency that's worked with over 600 companies, been around since 2017. We own the franchise of Cointelegraph Middle East. We also have a PC and a foundation that educates girls in developing countries.
I'm Kaya. I'm the co-founder of Kaladin. Kaladin is a solution, and we are on testnet, and we're on Bitcoin and EVM chains as well as Stellar.
Hi, I'm Lisa Loud, and I'm the executive director of The Secret Network. We are pioneering privacy in blockchain, which is a much needed factor and feature in order to get mass adoption for blockchain in the mainstream world.
So it's such a pleasure to be on this panel with all women, and I really feel like women are at the heart of pioneering Web3 in so many ways. And so I would say that one of the things that I always talk a lot about is intentionality in launching a company and being a founder or being a part of an organization. Can you guys talk a little bit about how you focus on inclusivity and diversity as you're building and scaling?
Definitely. So prior to starting NFT CLT, I studied mechanical engineering. I was in supply chain, building displays and a bunch of other consumer electronic components. But I've always been very active in creating ERG type of communities, from National Society of Black Engineers, where I was president on campus at USC, to now where we were one of the few organizations to actually go into communities of color to provide free, accessible education. And what does that mean, free and accessible, right? Obviously, you know, Web3, a lot of these conferences, there is a high ticket price, so it's not as easily for underserved communities to kind of plug in and understand who are the builders and who's really pioneering and what are the opportunities that they can get involved. And the second is inclusivity. A lot of the mainstream NFT projects and communities haven't always had an eye on inclusivity, as you mentioned. Even small things like the big projects that we have, like Bored Apes, for folks in color communities and the Black community, right? It's not the most culturally relevant type of project to get introduced into the world of NFTs and Web3. So we advise and consult quite a few culturally relevant projects, including Ja Rule's Black is Beautiful and Miguel's Sick World, and make sure that when we introduce people into Web3, they're coming into a community that represents them and looks like them, and that speaks to them. You know, whether it's through hip hop culture, fashion, art, it's something that resonates with our folks and our people. Love that.
I don't know how to follow this. So what we do at Luna, I guess overall, I mean, we are firstly based out of the Middle East, which on its own is a cultural mixing pot. But we do have offices in Singapore and Miami, and that on its own are different audiences altogether. Our clients as well are completely global, so they come from the US all the way to Australia. And so we are diverse, we have to be, and we wouldn't know it any other way. We are all, I mean, all of our founding team members are women of, we're all brown. We have Marelle back there, who's our COO, and she's Armenian Canadian. My sister and I are Indian, but we grew up, she was born in Hong Kong, I was born in Europe. So we just don't know it any other way. So on the cultural side, it's so ingrained in everything that we do. And on the women to men side, on the gender side, I mean, we're a women-led organization, but that wasn't done on purpose. It was done by accident. So out of 10 of our management members, we have 2 men and 8 women that are leading our teams. And we hire equally. We encourage inclusivity. And being in the PR business, they want those headlines of women-led founders and the underdog. So we love working with companies like that.
I am an engineer, and I have a lot of friends in the space. And I think there are starting to be a lot more women in computer science, women builders, but I feel like there hasn't been as big a growth in entrepreneurs and developers. And I don't really know why that is, but that's something I've been seeing. And I'm passionate about cryptocurrency. I know a lot of women who are really passionate about money being accessible to all different sorts of people, like building stuff with a team, like men. I don't know. Important to do what you believe in and build, no matter what gender you are. I think that's really important. It's something that I believe in.
I've been in crypto for the past 6 years, and I've been in companies like BitMEX, where I was one woman out of 55 employees. Seriously, think about the ratios there. And I worked at Shapeshift, which was very equal. So more recently, I actually just got hired at the Secret Networks Foundation as executive director. I replaced someone who was a man, but I feel like I've been a pioneer in this space for the last 6 years. I've been passionate about teaching women about blockchain and getting women to think that this is a space where they can actually make a difference and they can participate, rather than it being so much a crypto bro club. So passionate about this, have been working to educate people, and it's just the most important thing in my life right now.
I love that. Coming from Third Academy, we've had thousands of students come through, mostly from the continent of Africa and India, and we are seeing people educate themselves virtually in Web3 and landing tech jobs that pay substantially more than they get in their local community, and that's spreading like wildfire. So when Breathe approached us about building a metaverse version of this community experience that was accessible 24/7 worldwide for everyone who can't make it here physically, we were so excited to do it. And so we're featuring 130 works of NFT art in 10 different galleries. So, and we're launching from that a program with XR Women so that Web3 women can mentor other women in technology. So I think we all know how powerful our grassroots and conscientious, intentional efforts are to make a difference. But let's talk a little bit about media. I feel like media is this tool that we have to be very strategic with because it builds our brand and builds our identity in such a way that we either emphasize our messaging and our culture or we de-emphasize it. So if you want to talk a little bit with us about media and how you see media working within your organization or good examples of it to onboard the future of Web3.
Check. Is it working?
You have to put it very close.
I'm definitely not a subject matter expert in media, as I'm an engineer, but I've learned that it is so necessary in order to scale and really start attracting the communities and the individuals that are aligned with the work that you're doing and that ultimately want to give you the resources and support. So I know for ourselves, one, having celebrity clients has definitely supported kind of the overall mission and having people more aware about the opportunities in this space. Again, like I mentioned, it's more culturally relevant than just, hey, come set up a wallet, right? If I can introduce it in a way that gets people excited, it's kind of better for our exposure. I would say we've also really leaned heavily on social media, not coming from a traditional media background. I mean, the first thing we did was get on our local news station, and then from there it was focused on growing our social media presence individually as co-founders on Twitter and Instagram, particularly Twitter for Web3 community, but then, trying our best to publish articles coming from our organization and just really make sure that our voice is clear on those social media platforms so that people get a chance to know who we are and our intentions prior to, coming to an event or things like that and engaging on a one-on-one level.
So with us, media obviously plays an important role, not just for ourselves, but also for our clients. So we're really strategic with the way that we form messaging and communication strategies for Web3 companies. We've seen it ourselves. As I mentioned, we are women-led, and we're a group of really fun women. We like to go out, we like to create content, we're silly. However, we found that it was like we weren't allowed to portray this messaging online. And now, if you look at who we are online, we have to be serious. We have to be strategic. When we come to conferences, you won't see us in jeans. You'll see us in outfits that portray us in a more serious manner because we've faced questions. We've been around since 2017. The amount of times that we've been asked if we invested in Polkadot because it was cute, I mean, it's ridiculous. Someone today asked if I knew what MetaMask was. I'm running a PR agency in Web3. Of course I know what MetaMask is, you know, and I find myself facing these questions, and it's regular, it's become normal. But that's why media plays such an important role, because it's who you want to portray and how you want to portray it. What messaging are you getting across? But what's frustrating is that I cannot be my fun and serious self online because I get asked these stupid questions, you know, or I cannot wear, my jeans to a conference, at least not in Asia so much, because I get asked these really dumb questions. So yeah, we are really strategic, and we advise it for our clients as well. We help build that powerful profile, but I just can't really wait for the day where I can actually go out there and be stupid on camera.
To be ourselves, right? And not be judged for it, and to be taken seriously despite that.
We put out this video on Twitter in like 2021, and it was, we make like these stupid raps. And so one of our clients, they had this NFT ring, and it was called Diamond Hands. And so we put up this like song, and my sister did it on TikTok, so she put that weird like elevator soft porn music in the back, and it went viral on Twitter. And it was an accident, but it was hilarious. And everyone's like, this is why women shouldn't be in Web3, and this is the space, and you guys don't even know what Bitcoin is. And we're like, really? Just because we were being dumb? Like, you know, so it's just so stupid. But at the same time, we got so much support, so there are still two sides of the coin. And so we try to focus and hone in on the audience that does support us. So now we found our middle ground of creating stupid content that is smart as well. So it's like silly but smart, and it's captivating, and we found our little niche.
I love that. Next. This one. Oh yeah, this one's much better. So media, I think you have the best experience in media, so I could not top what you said. I can say that in addition to what you said, I spend a lot of time with VCs and pitching, and I find that the questions I get asked are more around like, how are you gonna deal with this problem or that problem? Whereas I see that my male colleagues often get asked, what's the size of this market? What's your vision? So I'm learning to try to turn those questions into more aspirational questions rather than like defensive questions. And I don't know why women get asked those questions. For some reason, it seems to be the way it is. Frustrating. Yeah, on that note, 238 billion last year was given out in venture capital dollars. 1.7% went to women. If you were a minority woman or a minority, it was less than that. So when we think about that, it's pretty substantial. And I don't know that it's bias or if it is also access to the ability to get educated and to get a step up. I mean, I was like you, when I was studying computer science, there were 2 women in my program, and it felt very lonely. It really did. So it's a question that we all have to tackle, and I think mindfulness and talking about it when we get to this stage is really important.
I think like role models are really important, or like women founders, women engineers. I think that's incredibly important, and something that like we're all doing here today, which I love. Kind of like how we approach media is like kind of more through education. Our approach to decentralized exchanging is very different, and we use a stage-handle solution. So kind of like what our media is focused on is like educating people that like it is possible to trade cryptocurrency with trustlessly. You don't have to give it to a centralized exchange. It is possible to do it a different way. We believe in decentralization. We believe in peer-to-peer. That's like the promise of blockchain. And we want to bring that back. We want people to be able to exchange Bitcoin, EVM just directly. And so that's kind of what our media is focused on portraying.
Perfect segue to my next question. You know, open source and decentralization is kind of the cornerstone of Web3. I think that lends itself immediately to collaboration and to mentorship. So if you guys could give us some examples of how you're seeing that playing out from your perspective in the Web3 space, that would be great.
I think in terms of collaboration, that's something we really do well and champion is working with a variety of NFT projects, protocols, organizations, even some that are included here like Nuvo, that you go around, they're a partner of ours. For us, we feel like that is being true to the ethos of Web3, is to put on programming that is diversified, that shows people who are coming into the ecosystem. This is truly an ecosystem. This is not one world. These things play together, and this is how they play together. So we feel like it's kind of necessary in order to further adoption and onboarding and actually speak to the culture of Web3. You have to be collaborating. I don't think you can be stuck on being proprietary or look at traditional business organization. I think that's also the challenge of getting funding too. If you are a woman co-founder in an emerging tech space, even if it's not necessarily a tech platform, you know, PR focusing on it. I think a lot of folks maybe like discount women's experience coming from other fields and bringing it into this space. But the more that there is collaboration, the more that there are other organizations that can vouch for you, I think it helps our reputability as women founders as well.
So we've worked with over 600 companies in the space. We work with VCs, we work with media houses, we work with top companies in the space. We got CZ on the cover of Entrepreneur magazine. You know, so there's really no limit there. But what I am seeing, and this has really taken me back a little bit, is the VCs that we work with have been advising companies that are all white male founders, or you know, that profile, to bring in women of color on their board of advisors, because it helps their credibility. It helps them open up to new audiences, helps them with a new perspective. So I already feel like there's already a shift, and it's playing out, at least in Asia, we're seeing it quite a bit. And over here, I know that in the US, it's very appreciative to have a board that is culturally diverse. So I do enjoy seeing that shift. When it does come to carrying this forward, I think maybe in another couple years we'll see it more common, but it's still early.
Like how I view collaboration, like the Web3 space is fragmented. Like there are tons of different blockchains, all of which have their own sort of smart contract solution. And what we do is we allow them to be interoperable. We allow like swaps between tons of different blockchains. I think like there's tons of like EVM blockchains as well as Bitcoin and Bitcoin clones, and we think you should be able to do a decentralized exchange between those two. And I think like collaboration of blockchains is a problem that we're trying to solve and a problem that we're passionate about solving.
Secret Network came out of the Cosmos ecosystem, and Cosmos is most known for collaboration. So I've seen a lot of competition in the past 6 years, people building the same project in a different team, and only some of them survive. There's something to be said for competition, but I think there's more to be said for collaboration, because there's so much to build, and we can't all build all parts of it. So if we can each build our own part that we specialize in and that we get really good at, then we can work with each other and build something greater together. And you know, this is a women's panel, so I'll mention it, that I think women are more more wired to do collaboration than competition. So I believe that as we see in a few years, like you said, if we see more people, more diversity on boards, more diversity in leadership, we will also see more collaboration in the space first, rather than competition first, and collaboration when we don't have a choice.
I love that. I think it's a really powerful way to end this conversation on collaboration, on the possibility of collaboration, on meeting people here today. So I'd love to open it up to questions from the audience if we have any. Thank you, ladies. This was a pleasure, such inspiration. Thank you for being such pioneers.
Thank you.